Do you need a fridge to go overlanding? That's what we're going to talk about on this week's episode of the Storm Pro Overland podcast. Hi, everybody. I'm Rob, and welcome to Storm Pro Overland, where we talk about overlanding, going on adventures, road tripping, camping, and just generally getting out and enjoying life. Now, this week, we're going to talk about, do you really need a fridge to go overlanding? Kind of the pros and cons of a fridge versus a cooler, and just kind of compare the two and see what's right for you. If we start with just the cooler, coolers are great. I used a cooler for years. I just fairly recently switched to a fridge. Um, Coolers are great because they're cheap. You can get everything from a $10, $15 Walmart special all the way up to an Arctic or a Yeti, or even more expensive ones from there. The one I used for several years is an Arctic Ultralight. It's great. It's not super heavy. A lot of these roto molded nice coolers can get really heavy. The ultralight has the same insulation as the heavier ones, but it's got a little less plastic, so it's not quite as heavy. The trade-off is obviously it's not quite as durable, but it works. It holds ice, keeps things cold. Uh, it does its job. Uh, Also, kind of leads into one of the downsides of a cooler, though, is it needs ice. You have to keep ice in here, and you've got to having ice automatically reduces your capacity, adds weight. You have to worry about it melting. You have to worry about your food that's in there getting into that melted ice water and getting soggy. Whether it's a sandwich getting soggy, or if you've got some meat you're keeping for the next night or something, it might start kind of getting there, contaminating all your water and just getting nasty. That's never fun. I know there's trays you can put in here. I've got a little basket that hangs from the top to try to help with all that, but it's still something you have to worry about, and you have to worry about running out of ice. Can you get more ice? Just it's a lot of extra little pieces to worry about. But on the other hand, it doesn't need power. You put ice in it, it keeps things cold. It's simple, it's easy, it works. If you're willing to put up with the fact that I've got to keep ice and keep things from getting wet and be able to get more ice in there, as long as you're okay with putting up with it, this is a great option. Like I said, you do kind of have to worry about soggy food if it gets down into the water, but it's just if it's worth it to you, or if spending the money on a fridge isn't worth it, that's just something to put up with, and it's not a huge deal. And the last kind of downside to the cooler is you don't have any real temperature control. It's You put ice in there, you put your stuff in there, and it's whatever. It's just cold. It's not going to be frozen. You're not going to like keep ice cream and stuff in here. So you're kind of have one option of just cold, and as the ice melts, it's going to get not as cold. And I know there's lots of things that I've done it in the past, and other people do it where they'll have, like, instead of having actual ice in there, they'll have an ice pack that they freeze and stick in there, or gallon jugs of water that you freeze and then put in there. And those work, but they still are taking up some of your capacity. You're still adding weight. It works, just not ideal. Now, for me, I switched to the fridge and the battery pack a while back. I just like it. It's just a more, this sounds silly, it's a more refined experience when I'm outside. I don't have to worry about ice. I can just plug it in, throw my food in there, and I'm done. I don't have to worry about it. It's nice to have, it's temperature control. They have mine's not, but they have dual zone fridges where you can have one side set of fridge temperatures and one set of freezer temperatures. If you're going to be out a long time and need to keep meat frozen for a couple of days, you can do that. If you want to have ice cream bars just because you want to be fancy, you can. That's an option you have. And with that, most of the fridges have temperature control. You can decide: do I want it to be cold or colder, or do I want it frozen? Even this is a fairly cheap budget fridge. Like I said, not dual zone, nothing fancy, but even I can set it down to below freezing and keep stuff frozen. So if I want ice cream, popsicles, whatever, if I just want really cold beer, perfect. You have that ability to adjust it, but that comes with trade-offs too. It's Neither one of these solutions is perfect. Obviously, you're going to need a battery pack. The battery pack for me is not a huge downside because the battery pack is awesome for other things as well. It's a great way to charge your phone, your camera batteries, drone batteries. For me, I live in Oklahoma. We get severe thunderstorms and tornadoes, and power goes out. And if that happens, this is my backup at my house. I keep it plugged in during storm season just in case the power goes out and we need to charge phones or run a light or whatever it is in the house. So this isn't just a piece of overland gear for me. This is also kind of emergency backup preparedness in the house. So having it to power the fridge is not a huge deal. And the same thing, if power goes out, I can plug the fridge into there, and I can keep my stuff cold. In fact, we had an instance at the house. It wasn't a storm where power went out or anything. Just our fridge broke. The pressure on the fridge went out. Not a big deal, except it was going to be several days before we could get another fridge, and we had a lot of food. And so we went through and kind of prioritized what was frozen and what was the stuff that was expensive or stuff that was easy to replace. Easy to replace stuff we might have went ahead and ate or just not worried about it. But we buy meat from a local farm. We buy a half a cow at a time. And that's a lot of beef. It's kind of expensive. And for us at the time, it was all frozen. So we threw it as much as we could in there, kept it frozen. We kept some at a friend's house. We kept some in the cooler with ice too. Like I said, both great options. So this gives me, for me, it gives me more options to work with. Let's see. The other thing that has been weird, this is not overlanding or outdoor adventure or any of that kind of stuff related, but just for like road trips going to see family. Over Thanksgiving, I was going down, doing about an 8-hour drive down to see my family, and I was going to take a big batch of tamales down there with me. Made homemade tamales. It's something we do in the holidays a lot. So I just took the fridge, plugged it in, put the tamales in the fridge, drove down there, and we got there and gave everybody tamales, and we had a great time. But then, as you do at Thanksgiving, there's a ton of leftovers, and they wouldn't all fit in my family's fridge. So I just went and grabbed this out of the car, and we stuck it in the kitchen, and it was kind of the backup fridge for extra leftovers for a day until we kind of worked our way through those leftovers. The other thing that's nice with this is in the summer especially, me and my wife love to go kayak. Well, sometimes it gets really friggin' hot, and you can't take a whole lot out on the kayak with you. I mean, we've got a smaller, like soft-sided Yeti cooler we take so we can have drinks and stuff, but man, it's nice to have this in the car, just leave it running while we're out paddling for a couple hours, and be able to come back to ice cold water, come back to a cheap, stupid push-up popsicle or something. It's an amazing kind of quality of life thing. So realistically, when you're comparing these two, like I said, this is a pretty high-end cooler. It's probably on the budget end of high-end, and this is on the budget end of budget when it comes to fridges. But just to kind of give you some numbers to compare, like I said, this is an Arctic Ultralight. It's a 52 quart cooler. It weighs 21 pounds, empty, and it runs right around $200. And the prices I'm giving you, I checked the prices for this and for the battery pack and the fridge. I just kind of did a quick Google search today to see what the prices were. This is standard MSRP prices. You can find sales on all of these. I bought this on sale. One of the things that led me to switching to a fridge and a battery pack was I happened to be looking one day and I saw a really good sale on one of the two. I don't remember which one it was. And I got it, and I waited a couple of weeks, and whatever the other one was went on a pretty good sale, and I got it. So if this is either way you want to go, look for deals. Don't just go out and order it on a whim. Look for those deals. Look for specials. Look for coupons, whatever you can. Life's expensive enough. Try to help yourself out. But like I said, 21 pounds, 52 quarts, $200. Compared to the fridge itself, we'll talk about the battery pack kind of at the end. But this is a pretty good comparison because this is 52 quarts. That's 58 quarts. They're pretty similar. I know obviously it's a slightly bigger, but pretty similar in size. 21 pounds, empty. 35 pounds empty. Well, I guarantee if you're taking this out for more than a day or two, you're going to want at least that much ice, weight difference wise. As much extra as that one weighs, that extra 14 pounds or so, you're probably going to want about 14 pounds of ice in here, and you're going to be reducing the capacity of what you can fit in here. So, and that fridge runs about $320. Yes, it's more money, but man, to not have to worry about my ice melting or my food getting soggy, or can I get more ice, or worrying about if my kid's going to sit there and open it 15 times looking for drinks or snacks and letting all the cold air out of it, this is just so much nicer. If these didn't exist and I had to use a cooler for the rest of my life, or even if I just couldn't afford this and I was stuck with a cooler forever, it's fine. It's not the end of the world. It works. It's simple. It works. If that fits your lifestyle better, go for it. Be happy. I mean, and there's nothing that says you can't have both or use both depending on what the trip is. I mean, if I'm going out by myself for one night, I may not take that. I may just take the cooler. I may take an even smaller cooler. I may not take a cooler at all. It's nice to have options. This is my preferred option. Oh yeah, I forgot. I was talking about the battery pack too. So this battery pack's Blue Eddy AC50S, I think is what it is. It's about 500 watt hours. And let's see, it runs about $240. Like I said, I can't remember which one of these I found on a really good sale. I think it was the battery pack. I think I found it for like 50 bucks off, which was enough to make me go ahead and make the jump. But like I said, not a bad option. It's nice to have options. What about you? What have you picked? What's working for you? Leave me a message in the comments or shoot me a message or something. Are you a die-hard cooler person? Or you just have your old trusty Coleman that you're going to keep forever? Or have you stepped up to a fridge? Or have you stepped up to a really nice fridge? Let me know. Let me know how it's working out for you. What was your thought process and reasoning? Why did you go the way you did? And let's see, with that, kind of wraps up the comparing of these two. But I do want to mention, getting kind of close to 50 subscribers. Last I checked, we were at 35. When we get to 50 subscribers, I am going to be doing a giveaway. I'll just randomly pick one of the subscribers, and they will be getting a 1-year membership, premium membership to Onyx Off-Road. So like I said, once we get to 50, we'll go ahead and pick that and do that giveaway. And then I have to start brainstorming something for 100 subscribers, because we'll get there one of these days. We're having some nice slow growth. But with that also, if you are watching this as a video, we release the audio as a podcast. If you are listening to the podcast, we also release the video on YouTube. You can find us both. You can find the YouTube at Stormcrow Overland. Podcasts can be found wherever you find good podcasts. Just look for Stormcrow Overland. We're also on Instagram as Stormcrow Overland. Whichever one of those you're on, I would really appreciate if you give us a like, follow, subscribe, leave me a comment, anything like that. And I also want to just say a quick shout out to some of the folks that are kind of always liking and commenting on stuff. Hi there, guys, to John Hornbeck and to West OK Overland. I just got me a West OK Overland shirt the other day. I should have worn it for the video. It's a great shirt. Jared's a great guy. He's done a lot to map out some different kind of, don't want to say trails because they're all public roads, and he likes to emphasize that, but just to lay out some really nice routes for here in Oklahoma where we don't have a whole lot of places to go kind of look around and play off-road a little bit. So hi to both of y'all. Just want to give y'all a shout out. And finally, sometimes you really have to go out and get lost before you can find yourself. Thanks for watching.